Hello, happy new year. This broadcast is titled. This is heavily impromptu, but then again, a lot of them are. So I do have a journal entry here. This one is journal entry number 8. This will be journal entry number 8. And I'm going to get right into the journal entry because I do have something to say, but I want to go ahead and just get through this journal entry before I have what I have to say. You know. Journal entry 8. Sleep. I slept great today, February 3rd, 2022. I took a power nap for the first time in a while this morning. It was so good. I managed to get up and play with my daughter at about 8 a.m. We played for about 2 hours before I retreated to my room to sleep for a few more hours prior to work. She was a bit upset. It has been a while since we were able to really play like that. She was so happy, jumping from one thing to the next. It hurt my heart when I retreated to my room and she came to get Mr. pulling on my head with her tiny hands framed around my fingers like vice grips. Come on, Daddy, she would say as she tugged me. I told her I couldn't. I had to go to sleep, and she got sad. I watched as she pouted a bit and ran to her room. She does this thing where she slams her door when she gets mad, but we have told her not to do that anymore. Instead, what she did was go to her room and grasp her door, hiding behind it like she was about to close it, and looking back at me. I felt loved, then sad that I couldn't continue our play date to make her happier. I did ha- I didn't have any interaction with my wife. I was passed out and far gone by the time she got up. She woke me because she knocked over the curtain that holds up the background I use for live streams and recordings. I pretty much got the same treatment when she got home. Didn't bother with the hug nor kiss. She desires that kind of thing. Any lack of it isn't really due to me or my efforts to obtain it. So I didn't really care. I had to go to work. She didn't bother texting or calling while I was at work either. I don't note that because it is relevant, but just to know that despite her week and work being stressful, she doesn't talk to me about it. In other words, I am to assume she isn't stressed and has everything handled as need be. I am not a fool. I know this is not the case at all. It is knowing that she still resists to talk to me about things that really gets to me. I know I must be patient and everyone else doesn't come around as quickly as I do. I hope she does in the end. I am not suicidal. I love my daughter. I have a wife. Dot dot dot. So that ends that journal entry. Um, I'm kind of recalling this, but given this was back in 2022, this was actually right before my daughter's birthday. So that means back in 2022, my daughter today, this year, 2025, she's turning 6. So that would mean she would have had to been probably 3, either 3 going on 4, I believe. Yeah, so she was 3 going on 4. So she was still a little my little baby cakes, my little boo boo, and I guess I actually was able to get some good sleep. I normally don't get up that early. Usually my wife and my daughter, or ex-wife at this point, and daughter got up that early because that's their schedules. Usually I'm asleep at that time, so I guess I was able to get some sleep and play with her a bit. Um, and she enjoyed it. She really did love that. She loves when I can give her some attention and love and that type of thing. So in this case, it had been a while since I was dealing with the situation with my ex and all that stuff, and I was working 6 days a week, 70 plus hours of work. So I was for a good deal of her early childhood. She's a pandemic baby, and I was on my grind. And unfortunately, things weren't always great at home. Forgive the mic. I am using a different mic. This is kind of impromptu for some information that I do want to share eventually. But pertaining to this journal entry, um, this journal entry is probably it's a pretty straightforward one. Um, if you hadn't watched the other ones, pretty much my wife was giving me the whole silent treatment bullshit, and intentionally. Now she was talking to other people and whatnot uh, about her issues and stuff. Now, mind you, I am her husband, but she was going to other men and friends and family for advice and whatnot because she had a lot of issues going on the back end. And instead of her coming to me as her husband, I mean, I had no animosity towards her whatsoever. I actually wanted her to talk to me. I gave her space just so it wouldn't seem like I was trying to overwhelm her. So you can't try and say I was overwhelming her. No, I gave her space. I absolutely did. And I did voice my concerns about her not talking to me and whatnot plenty of times. And it was business as usual. I guess because this journal entry is named sleep. I don't know if I intentionally did this, but I can't recall. This was on a Friday, so usually I work Fridays. I'm not sure if I was or wasn't off the day before, but for whatever reason, I was able to get some sleep, and I was able to actually play with my daughter in a long time. And I did note, you know, even though I couldn't play with her, she was upset, but she still loved me, and that's why I kind of put that remark in there because she really did want to keep playing. And I guess I hadn't been able to play with her like that in a long time, if ever, actually. And that's one of those things where I have played with her since, so I have been making efforts. We gone to the park, we've gone on our daddy daughter outings, so I've made plenty of time, to do that. I can make more time, so I'm not gonna act like I've done enough. I mean, for the most part, I have, but I can do more. And that's just me pushing on myself, so I can't always do more, especially for my baby girl. So I'm just trying to be the best role model. So the reason why I have this one titled "Happy" in quotation marks New Year is because this New Year is a bit bittersweet. Um, I do have a new lady friend. Things were a bit rocky at first, but I do have a new lady friend. Whether or not she'll be a girlfriend, I'm not sure. I am not. Um, some things have to happen before that can actually occur, but she is in the lead. I will say that she's in the lead. Um, she's established herself. She's not a burden, that's for sure. And cute as can be. Fairly, fairly fair skin. I will say that. I do like my sisters, but I will say she's probably the lightest thing I've been with. So I will say that. But aside from that, things are good. So I was able to spend some time with her, Christmas, New Year's, that type of thing. And the reason why I say it's bittersweet was, while I was spending time with her and we were having a moment and enjoying our time together, um, one of my associates from work, a buddy of mine, we've talked throughout the years while he's been at our place's business. You know, we would text each other time from time. We would catch up from time to time on a regular to kind of talk about, investments and and our stock portfolios. He had actually just purchased a house. Um, I was planning on moving it in to it, and he had told me about that. He's how he was setting himself up and everything, and I was like, okay, and we've exchanged knowledge and information like that. And while I was with my lady friend, I sent out my texts and stuff, Happy New Year's to friends and family. And I didn't send him a text that night. And the reason for it is because, like, I was going to see him the next day. So I was like, oh, I'll say it to him when I meet him in person. Plus, I was trying to get back to my lady friend. I didn't want to take too much of my attention with my, texting and whatnot on the phone and whatnot. So I was like, I had already sent like 10 or 20 texts at that time. And I was like, okay, I'll get to him, eventually I'll see him, eventually today, New Year's Day. And got to work, found out he died last night. And it made me kind of recall our last interaction. And he had died while in a truck driving back from Virginia. He had had a heart attack while driving, and luckily the truck did come to rest in an embankment. It didn't go off a cliff. It didn't hit anybody else. Luckily, for that. So, but unfortunately, um, he did end up dying. And thinking of our last interaction, um, he had noted. Of course, we would do the same old talk, talking about investments and stuff. I was telling him about my portfolio, some of the stuff I had bought into. He was telling me some of the stuff he was doing. I think that's when he was telling me about, he's moving into his house. Actually, I think it was this week. Actually, he was moving into his house, his new house, and he had noted my weight loss and everything. And I was telling him how, I had got through some things. I went through that divorce. I just wasn't feeling myself. I had gained that weight. I just didn't feel right. And I did note my, overweightness, my rolls and stuff. Now he was overweight himself, not severely, but he was overweight enough. I'd say probably 50 to I'd say probably 50 to 100 pounds, somewhere between that. Um, more closer to 50 though. I'd say 50, probably 50 to 85 pounds overweight. And he did make some remarks about that. I kind of did get from him like, he knew he was out of shape. And eventually, had we, kept rocking it, had he had what had happened to him, had that not happened, eventually, I would have kind of got to him and been like, hey, this is kind of stuff I'm doing with the dieting, and I would have tried to brush off on him if I could have, pertaining to that type of thing. And it never happened. That never happened because at the young age of he was in his 40s. Some of the folks I associate with that are my peers are actually older than me. Hell, even some of the women I deal with are actually older than me. 10 years older than me. I can actually count a couple of women I've dealt with that were in their 40s, thus far. And I've always been an older, mature for my age. So that's just how I've always been. And all my friends have usually been older than me. Even some, good deal of my girlfriends have all been older than me, at least by a year or so. And in his case, he was still relatively young, and he was heading in the right direction and everything. Well, I say head in the right direction, but he was getting his shit, you know, in order as should be. He has a daughter, had a daughter, has a daughter. Still, she's still alive, and my prayers go out to him, his daughter, his family, and his passing. So this one I'll dedicate to Jacques. Shout out to him. Rest in peace. And I'm still a bit shocked that I was not. That's why I'm kind of doing this recording because really was impromptu. I really wasn't expecting that kind of information, especially since I was expecting to actually see him and wish him a happy new year and kind of lend my help if he needed to, like his big move and all that. And it just really makes you kind of realize how sudden life really is, how fleeting it can be. And it's yet another thing it's really just a life lesson, just showing you like, yeah, this is life. This is life. This is how it can be. This is how it is. So I do want to wish everyone, a happy new year. Keep in mind, you know, it was bittersweet. I got to spend some time with my lady, so I did get to do that. But that one was a big shock. So again, rest in peace to Jacques, and I think I'll end it on that note. Thankfully, the journal entry was actually a good note. It wasn't too bad. But to everyone who listens to this, who watches this, just know like we only get one shot at this, and I hope you're making the most out of every interaction you have. So live, learn, never forget. Till next time.